Hi, this is Didner. Thank you so much for tuning in B2B marketing and more with me. This is a place I want to help you to become a better B2B marketer. And at the same time, I share my templates, know-how, and experience to help you to think strategically and do your job better. Hopefully by doing that, you can get promoted faster. For today, I want to continue the conversation of the messaging framework series. This is part 3. Part 1, I talk about the definition of messaging framework and the steps that you can take to build one. Part 2, I share product-specific templates that you can use to develop the messaging framework. Today, I want to talk about thought leadership. Obviously, brands love to be perceived as thought leaders. Who doesn't? And a lot of them actually have a thought leadership story. From my perspective, before you can develop your story, you should have a thought leadership messaging framework to guide everybody. This framework is different than the part 2 product-specific templates. Now you can see on the screen, this is what the template looks like. I want to go through each category with you, so I'm going to say that out loud so you get a sense of it. We're going to start with objective, target audience, overall narrative, company-specific narrative, the value proposition of the company's product portfolio, the benefits of a company's product portfolio, messaging positioning, and also the impact of the messaging positioning, messaging narratives. Then the last 2 categories are proposed content title for your thought leadership stories, and of course, a list of the keywords for content creation. So let's talk about each category a little bit more. Objectives. Obviously, it's important to write a specific statement to identify why do you need a thought leadership story. A good example is XYZ company addresses its role and the differentiator in the future of cybersecurity. Identify a specific product category that you want to stand on. Right? So list that as objective. The next one is a target audience. Again, try to identify just one segment of the audience that you want to showcase and to display your thought leadership story. The next one is overall narrative. And this is why. You need to answer the question of why. Why is a specific megatrend or a product category important? Why is Smart Factory 4.0 important? Why is digital transformation important, right? Try to explain that, educate your audience. And the most important thing is for the narratives, you really need to write paragraphs, not bullet points, right? Because you are telling the stories, it is very important to actually talk about it in kind of like a paragraph type of format, not bullet points, and preferably 2 or 3 paragraphs. Once you describe and educate your audience that specific megatrends or product categories are important, then you can proceed to talk about why your company is important, essential in that specific trend or product category. Now I narrow it down to a company-specific narrative, right? So overall narratives, company-specific narrative. The next thing is really about value proposition. What is the one statement that you want to describe that's unique for your company against the competitors? So what is that overarching value proposition? After that, you need to talk about the benefits of the product portfolio that you offer. For all the products that you offer as a company, what kind of benefit do you provide to your customers? So does your product portfolio reduce the risk or increase the growth or actually enhance the performance of a certain technology and the product solution that you can offer to your customers? So these are the couple categories I'm sharing with you in terms of the benefits of the value proposition. And after that, you identify the messaging positioning. So if you are talking about your company is vital to drive and lead the direction of the Smart Factory 4.0, well, maybe one of the messaging pillar is automation or artificial intelligence. So within that specific topic, what can you do as a company to lead that changes and to drive the innovation? The messaging pillars, that I talk about tend to be a little bit higher or being elevated to support the megatrends and also the product specific category. For example, when I was working with one of my clients, we are talking about, say, smart factory. And the messaging that we can use to substantiate that claim are artificial intelligence and the connectivities and automations, things to that extent, right? So it's a much higher level than the product specific type of messaging pillar. So once you identify the messaging positioning, the next one is the impact of your messaging positioning. For example, if you actually said, okay, artificial intelligence is one of the key pillars, then the impact of that is you can actually use machine learning to predict quality defects, right? So that's actually the benefit of your messaging pillar, your messaging positioning. Then the next thing is messaging narratives. Can you actually write 2 or 3 paragraphs, again, to substantiate, elaborate in terms of how artificial intelligence and also the machine learning can help you to predict the quality defects? So you need to describe it, you need to show it. Once you actually have that information, it's much easier for the content creators to take that to further discuss and also illustrate your thought leadership story. So now you actually have all the information. You might as well just suggest like 5 to 10 content titles that you can write for your thought leadership story. For example, 5 trends in the digital transformation, or the insider's look on certain trends, for example. Write the content title and then have a discussion with your internal stakeholders. It's actually a great conversation. Whenever I have content titles and I talk to them, there's always a very heated discussion in terms of what kind of content they should write to demonstrate their thought leadership story. And of course, the last category is a list of keywords. If you actually have a keywords from your perspective that you should emphasize when you tell the thought leadership story, you should definitely use them and add that as a part of the messaging framework. So this is the part 3 of the messaging framework series. I hope that you find it useful. Again, if you need any help on the messaging framework side of things, reach out to me anytime. I actually do share my templates and I also share written samples. If you are interested, send me a quick email, pam@pamdidner.com. I am more than happy to share the information with you. Thank you so much for tuning in for today's episode. Really appreciate it. I know it's a little long and a little bit kind of like overwhelming. I hope that you get something out of it. If you like the content, subscribe below and share with a friend who might benefit. Next episode still is about messaging framework, but the last one, I promise. The question I want to answer, what if you have many products? Do you have to create messaging framework for every single one of them, right? So I will share the answer with you. See you soon. Bye.